The slap echoed louder than it should have. Not because it was hard, but because it was wrong. My wife stood frozen on the sidewalk, groceries slipping from her hands, eyes locked on the man wearing a badge that didn't belong to him. And in that exact second, everything changed. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon, the kind of day neighborhoods advertise when they sell you on peaceful community living. Sun out, kids riding bikes, no sirens, no tension. My wife, Emily, had walked to the corner market. She liked doing that, said it made the place feel like home. She never made it past the HOA gate. Two men stood there, black shirts, cargo pants, fake badges clipped to their chests, big block letters, HOA security. They looked official enough to scare someone who didn't know better. Emily didn't look scared. She looked confused. One of them stepped forward. ID. Emily blinked. Excuse me? Residents are required to show identification when entering the community, he said. That alone was illegal. She knew it. I live here, she replied calmly. You don't have the right. That's when the other one smirked. Don't get smart, he said. HOA authority outranks residents. Emily shook her head. No, it doesn't. That's when the first man raised his hand. Not to gesture, to strike, no slow motion, just a sharp, humiliating crack across her face. Groceries hit the ground. A carton of eggs shattered. People nearby froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Because everyone thought the same thing. Those are cops. They weren't. Emily didn't scream. She didn't cry. She reached into her pocket and pressed one button on her phone. A shortcut. One word sent. Now. I was in the garage, fixing a hinge. Normal life. Until my phone buzzed. That word hit my screen. I didn't ask questions. I didn't grab keys. I moved. One of the fake cops leaned in close to Emily. Next time, you'll show respect. His partner laughed. That's when a shadow fell across them. Mine. I didn't shout. Didn't threaten. I simply said, step away from my wife. They turned, looked me up and down, and made the worst assumption of their lives. The man with the badge laughed. You want to join her? He asked. His partner cracked his knuckles. They thought uniforms made authority. They thought numbers made power. They thought wrong. I didn't swing first. I didn't need to. When one of them grabbed Emily's arm again, I reacted, not with rage, with training. Seconds later, both men were on the ground, pinned, immobilized, breathing hard, alive, uninjured, helpless. The crowd gasped. Phones came out. Someone shouted, "Call the police!" I said. Already did. Literally. One badge snapped loose and skidded across the pavement. Cheap plastic. No serial number, no department. Just a lie with a clip. Fast. Too fast for comfort. Because this neighborhood had a history. The officers took one look at the men on the ground, then at the badges, then at me. One officer asked quietly, "Sir, are you military?" I nodded. "Former?" Another officer glanced at Emily's red cheek. His tone changed. Immediately. The two men started shouting, claiming authority, claiming HOA orders, claiming citizens' arrest powers. The officers weren't impressed. They asked one simple question. Who hired you? Silence. Finally, one muttered it. The HOA president's name. Out loud. On camera, in front of witnesses. Not on me, on them. For impersonating law enforcement, for assault, for unlawful detention. Emily watched calmly, still shaking, still standing. As they loaded the men into the cruiser, an officer leaned close. You handled that with restraint, he said. Most wouldn't have. I looked at Emily. Most don't have something worth protecting. The police didn't rush anyone. That alone told me everything. Real authority never panics. Emily sat on the curb, an officer kneeling beside her, asking gentle questions while another documented the mark on her face. Photos, timestamps, witness names. The two men, now very quiet, sat handcuffed against the cruiser, staring at the ground where their fake badges had landed. One of them kept saying, "We were just doing our job." No one responded. She showed up 20 minutes later, late model SUV, sunglasses still on, phone pressed to her ear. She parked sideways, like rules didn't apply to her either. She walked straight toward the officers. Not Emily, not me, them. "I'm the HOA president," she said loudly. These men were enforcing community rules. The officer didn't look impressed. He asked one question. "Are they sworn officers?" She hesitated. That hesitation was everything. "No," she said. "But—" The officer raised a hand. "But nothing." She tried to pivot. "They're private security. Perfectly legal." Another officer finally spoke. "Private security doesn't carry police-style badges." He held one up between two fingers. Plastic. Cracked. Embarrassing. Once the illusion broke, voices came back. A man said, "They stopped my kid last week." A woman whispered, "They searched my trunk." Another neighbor stepped forward. "They threatened to tow my car if I didn't comply." The officers started writing faster. You could see it. The moment she realized this wasn't an HOA meeting, this was a criminal investigation, she tried to leave. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "I'm going to need you to stay." That tone doesn't invite discussion. One of the fake cops finally cracked. He said the company name, out loud, on body cam. The officer's eyebrows lifted, because they already knew it. They weren't licensed, not in this state, not in any state. They were a consulting group, which meant nothing, legally. Emily's mark was already swelling. The officer asked her quietly, "Do you want to press charges?" She didn't look at me. She didn't hesitate. "Yes." The word landed hard. "I didn't tell them to hit anyone," she said. The officer replied without emotion, "You hired them." That's how responsibility works. Another cruiser pulled up, then another. Someone from the county, someone from internal affairs. This was no longer neighborhood business. They always do. When fear replaces confidence. One said the HOA wanted visibility, another said they were told to assert dominance. A third detail slipped out by accident. They said residents scare easier if we look official. The officer stopped writing, looked up. "Who said that?" Silence. Turns out, everything does. One officer held up a phone. "Is this your email address?" he asked the president. She nodded slowly. He turned the screen. There it was. "Make sure they look like law enforcement. Residents comply faster." Time-stamped, saved, backed up. "I didn't mean it like that." The officer nodded. Intent doesn't matter. Funny how often that phrase comes back. Neighbors stood in clusters, phones recording, whispers turning into outrage. People who'd been scared now looked angry. Different energy, much more dangerous, for the HOA. One officer finally asked, "What exactly did you do to them?" I explained. Briefly, clinically, they reviewed the footage, body cams, phones, security camera from the gate. "That was self-defense," he said, "and defense of another." End of discussion. She pointed at me. "He assaulted our security." The officer turned slowly. "Ma'am," he said, "your security assaulted a civilian." He paused. "Actually, two." This time, not just the fake cops. The HOA president was asked to turn around. Her sunglasses came off. Her hands shook. Conspiracy. Hiring unlicensed security. Impersonation facilitation. Accessory to assault. That badge she loved? Gone. No one clapped. No one cheered. People just stood there, absorbing the fact that fear had been manufactured and sold back to them as safety. As they led the president away, Emily stood up, walked over, looked her in the eye. "You could have just talked to people." The woman had no answer, literally. The city ordered it opened pending investigation. Barriers removed. Control vanished in under an hour. As the scene cleared, one officer stayed back. "You kept it controlled," he said. "You saved them from themselves." I didn't respond. I was watching Emily. That day, they weren't protected by rules, they were threatened by them, and now everyone knew. By Monday morning, the neighborhood felt different. Not quieter, heavier, like everyone had woken up realizing they'd been living under something false. At 8:04 a.m., every homeowner received the same message. Subject: temporary suspension of HOA security operations. No explanation, no apology. Just one line buried near the bottom. Please do not interact with former security personnel. Former. That word traveled faster than the email itself. Lights off, blinds drawn, a handwritten sign taped to the glass, closed for administrative review. People stood outside reading it like it might blink. Not just one, not just two. Boxes, bank records, emails, contracts, text messages. Years of decisions suddenly mattered. Website gone overnight, phone disconnected, social media deleted. Too late. Screenshots live forever, and investigators already had copies. The same board member, again and again. Not just in hiring, in instructions, in tone. They were worse than expected. Residents respond better to uniforms. Don't ask, tell. Compliance before comfort. Every sentence treated people like problems. Impersonation, coercion, unlawful detention, civil rights violations. The county prosecutor didn't smile when he listed them. He looked offended. No gavel, no podium, just folding chairs and a circle. People spoke freely, for the first time. I was scared to complain. They threatened fines. They said police would be involved. No one laughed. Because no one doubted it. Someone finally asked it. Why didn't you fight back sooner? I answered honestly. Because power collapses faster when it exposes itself. Silence followed. Understanding. Quietly. My face healed, she said. But fear doesn't, unless you face it. People nodded. Some cried. A new email. Different tone. We regret recent misunderstandings. Misunderstandings don't leave bruises. Automatic. Triggered by investigation. Dues stopped moving. Payments reversed. The HOA suddenly couldn't pay anyone. They always do. Affidavits poured in. One line repeated constantly. We were told this was approved by law enforcement. That lie cost someone their freedom. One by one, quietly, emails sent late at night. Personal reasons. Everyone knew better. No crowd, no speech, just a judge reading emails out loud. The bail amount went up. This wasn't about rules. It was about control disguised as safety. And once seen, it couldn't be unseen. Kids rode bikes freely. Visitors came and went. No one checked IDs. The sky didn't fall. Life improved. An officer stopped by one afternoon. Not official, just human. You did your family proud, he said. I nodded. That was enough. Residents filed together, not angrily, strategically. Patterns matter. Mid-case, cited ethical conflicts. That's lawyer language for this is indefensible. Licensing boards got involved. HOA oversight agencies, even housing authorities. It wasn't local anymore. No quorum, no minutes, just empty chairs. The illusion officially dead. An apology letter, typed, unsigned. She read it once, recycled it, not me, her, for standing, for not backing down. Strength looks different up close, posted publicly. HOA under review for dissolution. People took photos like it was history, because it was, from boards, from committees, from relevance. Authority doesn't survive exposure. We sat on the porch. Emily leaned into me, not shaken, not afraid, just tired and free. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. No drama, no shouting, just wood, flags, and a judge who had already read everything. That's the thing about cases like this. By the time you walk in, the outcome is mostly decided. No uniforms, no confidence, just suits that didn't fit and eyes that wouldn't meet anyone else's. They weren't brave without badges, different hair, different clothes, same posture, trying not to fold. She avoided Emily's gaze completely. Why were non-licensed individuals given police-like authority over civilians? No preamble, no patience. Her lawyer tried to explain deterrence. The judge stopped him. Deterrence is not impersonation, he said, and fear is not governance. The photo of Emily's face appeared on the screen. Still frame, clear. The courtroom went quiet. The judge leaned forward. Who authorized physical contact? No one spoke. That silence was loud. Every bad sentence, every careless instruction, every moment where control mattered more than people. You could hear the room turn against them line by line. He didn't ask about my background. He asked one thing. Did you attempt to disengage? Yes, I said. That was enough. Clear. Unambiguous. Lawful defense of another, the judge said. He didn't even look up when he said it. That part was easy. The HOA, the fake cops, the lie that pretended to be safety, impersonation, assault, false detention, no speeches, just consequences, badges taken, rights restricted, records permanent. They left smaller than they arrived, no board behind her, no authority left to borrow. The judge's voice softened, but not in mercy. You treated people as problems, he said, and you taught others to do the same. The sentence wasn't theatrical. It was final. Not suspended, not restructured, ended, effective immediately. Assets seized, authority revoked, name erased from record. You could feel the room breathe again. Insurance paid first, then sued. Contractors paid next, then sued. What remained came out of the people who made the decisions. That's how accountability works. Slow, thorough, unavoidable. Not because she had to, because the judge asked. She stood, calm. They didn't slap me because of rules, she said. They slapped me because they thought no one would stop them. The judge nodded. He understood. No celebration, just relief. Neighbors hugged. Some cried. Others just stood in the sun like it was new. Something interesting happened next. Nothing bad. Cars parked fine. Lawns stayed trimmed. People talked instead of reporting. Turns out order doesn't need intimidation. City removed it permanently. No replacement. No discussion. No one missed it. Once a month. Voluntary. No fines. No threats. Just conversation. Attendance was higher than any HOA meeting ever had been. Authority isn't a badge. It's trust. And trust dies the moment fear is used as a shortcut. Months later. Emily touched her cheek absent-mindedly. No scar, no pain, just memory. Would you do anything different? She asked. I thought about it. No, I said, because it ended the right way. We walked past the old HOA office, empty, windows dusty, a place that once scared people into silence. Now, just another building. Power gone. They wore fake badges and thought fear made them untouchable. They were wrong, because the fastest way to lose power is to use it on the wrong people.